Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be bringing you guys my player breakdown of the Washington Commanders second round pick Phidarian Mathis. I'll give you guys some background information on him. We'll go over some of his strengths and weaknesses, and then we'll go over some of his film, so make sure you guys stay tuned till the end. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Now, let's get right into it. So the Washington Commanders drafted Phidarian Mathis in the second round of the 2022 NFL Draft with the 47th overall pick, and a lot of Washington Commanders fans, myself included, were not too happy about the pick at the time, just because we were not expecting a defensive tackle. A lot of people wanted a linebacker or a safety like Jaquan Brisker, but a lot of people have warmed up to it. I've warmed up to it a little bit. Still don't love the pick, but let's get into some background information on Phidarian Mathis. So Phidarian Mathis, about 6'4", 24 years old, and 312 pounds. So he has big arms, 34.5-inch arms. He had a 23.5 vertical jump, not great. And then the rest, he didn't really run the 40 or bench press. So, there's not that many measurables on him from the combine. He grew up in Wisner, Louisiana. He has a 2-year-old daughter. He graduated from college and is working on his master's degree. So that's kind of the background information on Phidarian Mathis right there. Let's get into his stats real quick. So he played at Alabama for 4 years, and the first 3 years he really didn't have that much production, especially the first couple years. He played in 11 games in both of his first 2 seasons, and in the first season had 18 total tackles, no tackles for loss, no sacks or anything. Did have a fumble recovery. The next year improves a little bit. That's what you like to see. Every year he improved. Went to 27 tackles, half a tackle for loss, still no sacks, but also added a forced fumble. And then the next year he starts producing even more. Played in less games, played in 10 games, but had 31 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and had 1 forced fumble, and I think he, had 3 batted passes as well. So, improved from, year 1 to year 2 to year 3, and then year 4 was really his big year, his breakout year. So, played in 14 games, the most of his career, and had 53 total tackles, 10.5 tackles for a loss, 9 total sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble. So, that's a big jump, like going from 1.5 sacks in your first 3 years to 9 in your last year is a big jump for sure. But the stats aren't going to tell everything with Phidarian Mathis, because he's more of a run stuffer than a pass rusher. Sure, he can get to the quarterback sometimes, but he's better in the run game, in my opinion, after watching a couple games. But common theme with Phidarian Mathis, he improved every year. And a lot of players do, but there's definitely some players that don't, and you don't like players that kind of had really good years the first couple years and then kind of stalled out or plateaued. Ron Rivera likes that improvement, and Phidarian Mathis has shown that every single year. Okay, so now let's get into some of Phidarian Mathis's strengths and weaknesses from his time at Alabama. And I watched a couple of his games, watched some film on him, so I don't know everything about Phidarian Mathis, and I'm not a film expert at all, but these are just some things I noticed when I was watching, and some of these are strengths from this website right here, from this draft profile. So some of the main strengths are that he's able to constantly eat up double teams. That is a great thing he can do, especially in the run game. That's going to allow for other guys on the D-line to eat, but also free up some space for the linebackers as well. He's really going to help out Cole Holcomb this year. Cole Holcomb, James Davis, whoever the backers are back there. Hopefully we get another guy soon. He's really gonna help out those guys a ton, eating up those double teams, freeing up some space for those guys for sure. Another thing, he's a very disciplined player. So whatever Ron Rivera wants him to do, or Sam Mills, he's gonna do it. He's not gonna go off on his own and try to do it himself like some of the players we had last year did. Ron Rivera called out Chase Young and Montez Sweat in the middle of the season, so he's not gonna do that. He is going to do what the coaches tell him to do. Very sound player. He's had great sack production in his senior year. 9 sacks is a lot It's even for like a DN to have is pretty good in college, but 9 sacks for an interior defensive lineman, for a defensive tackle, nose tackle, that is very, very good. So that is, I mean, the first 3 years weren't great, but the last year, very, very good sack production. Perfect build and length for a defensive tackle, so that's another positive, like 3'10", 6'4", 34.5-inch arms. He's the team captain in 2021. He's very good at the bull rush, and he's very scheme versatile. So those are kind of some of the strengths that I noticed. And there's some more like technical stuff right here. Instant ground to pads, hand quickness off the snap, possesses 3 position versatility. We talked about that. So there's some other things here for sure that you guys can go ahead and read. So some of the weaknesses, only 1 year of good production. I mean, in terms of sacks in the run game, that's one thing I forgot to say. He is very, very good in the run game. Like, he's much better, in my opinion, in the run game than he is in, the pass rush game. Always eating up those double teams, and even when he's getting double teamed, he usually, beats those guys and is able to get the ball carrier constantly. So, I mean, he's very good in the run game. I think he will help us out a ton in the run game this year. But again, one of the weaknesses, only had 1 year of good production. The first 3 years, it combined 1.5 sacks, and the last year did have that big year. Not very athletic even for a defensive tackle, so like it's not a huge negative, but he's just not very athletic. There's a reason he didn't do a lot of those combine drills for sure. Very, basic kind of pass rush moves. Nothing really that much besides the bull rush. So, he's going to have to improve that for sure. And I think hopefully Sam Mills and the assistant, they're able to do that. Maybe even Warren Sapp can come in there for, I wish they would have Warren Sapp or someone else besides Sam Mills. I'm sick of Sam Mills, but it is what it is. They like him, so they're going to keep him. And then another negative from what I was watching, he's kind of slow off the line compared to the other defensive tackles and obviously the defensive ends, but that's going to happen with any guys. So some of the other weaknesses that, they listed here: limited range away from home base, below average capturing the spot against reach block, needs a more consistent response to down blocks, premature shed, gives runners a shot. So a lot of the more technical stuff right there, but you guys get the point. Like, I think Phidarian Mathis is a solid player. Like, when the pick happened, I had more of an issue with the pick, like the position, than I had of the actual player, because Phidarian Mathis is a solid player. Like, maybe they did overdraft him a little bit, but it wasn't as much as some people were saying. I had more of an issue of the position that they drafted. I was thinking safety would be a bigger position need, or possibly a linebacker, but we'll see how Phidarian Mathis does. So now let's get into some clips of his film. Okay, so first I'll show you guys a couple Twitter clips before we go to YouTube to go through some clips from an actual full game. But here's a clip from Mark Bullock, who does a great job, breaking down things for the Washington Commanders. Says, watch Phidarian Mathis stay low, use his length to stand up the right guard, get a peek on the running back, anticipate the cut, shed the block, and make the tackle. Sorry about the quality, not the best quality here, but you guys can see this right here. So Phidarian Mathis is the guy right here, and yeah, he's able. I mean, he just constantly eats up. I mean, that's the main takeaway that I got from watching him. I mean, here he takes on the double team and still is able to get to the running back and make an impact on the play. Here's another one actually showing off his pass rush moves. Use a little bit of a swim move here. Wait, sorry, that kind of lagged a little bit. Let me show it again. A little bit of a swim move and able to get to the running back. Sorry, I thought it was a pass rush attempt, but it wasn't. But still, you can see some moves there besides just, a bull rush, but able to get to the running back. That wasn't a double team, but still a good move for sure. And again, I forgot to say this. I am not a film expert at all. I'm just showing you guys what I'm seeing from watching this. So yeah, before I get flamed in the comments. Okay, and here are some clips from the Senior Bowl. Some of his highlights. You can see him doing some pass rush moves right there. Kind of quicker than you would think a little bit, but still not the fastest. You can see him actually do a pass rush move, or a pass rush drill right there. Gets the QB. Takes a little while though. Here you can see him right there, able to, kind of eat up a double team and still kind of get to the runner. That's what he does best. That is what Phidarian Mathis does best. Eat up those double teams, help out the guys behind him, and still, tackle the runner. Like, he does that at a great level right there, able to get some pressure on the quarterback right there. So, those are just some Senior Bowl highlights from him. All right, so let's get into some film from Phidarian Mathis against Miami in 2021. There might be some copyright issues, so if you hear me talk and then in the middle of the sentence it doesn't make sense, that's probably because I had to take out a clip or YouTube took out a clip. So let's get started. So right here you see Phidarian Mathis right here, and he does what he does best, takes on a double team and is able to help tackle the runner for like a 3-yard gain. So that's what he does best, guys. That is what Phidarian Mathis does best, is just we'll replay that. He just gets, takes on double teams right there. You see that, and he's able to help make a tackle for a minimal gain. He does that constantly, and this is back-to-back plays, and you see his impact again, 48 right here, and he does it all himself. Amazing play right there by Phidarian Mathis. Takes on the double team and just tackles him for no gain. He is going to be a huge help in the run game this year for the Washington Commanders, and I cannot wait to see what he does for us. And he will play. He will definitely play. I mean, last year, Matt Ioannidis was, our third defensive lineman, and he played, I believe, around 60% of the snaps. So Phidarian Mathis is going to be by far our third defensive lineman, and he'll probably get around 60% of the snaps, because I think Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne will both get a little bit more snaps than they got last year, but Tim Settle's gone and other guys are gone, so I think Phidarian Mathis will get around 60% of the snaps. So, he'll play 60% of snaps. So here you see Phidarian Mathis trying to do a pass rush move, and I don't know, like, he just doesn't add too much, and that's what most of his clips look like. Obviously, he does get to the quarterback sometimes, but it's just nothing special in terms of a pass rusher. A lot of his clips look like that, and sometimes like he's just right there in the right spot. Like, there was one time I was watching this game, and Anderson, the edge rusher for Alabama, who might be number 1 or top 3 pick this year, he gets to the quarterback. He isn't able to wrap him up, and Phidarian Mathis is right there to get to the quarterback. So he can be that great cleanup crew for you, but he's not going to be that elite pass rusher. Like, he's not, in my opinion. Coming out of college, like, Daron Payne was a better pass rusher, at least in my opinion, than Phidarian Mathis. But I think Phidarian Mathis could be better as a run defender. So right here, he actually does get some pressure on the quarterback, but like, this kind of shows like his slow get off, and it's kind of to be expected for a guy that's 312 pounds, but it is slower than other defensive linemen at his weight, in my opinion. Trying to show kind of like his slow get off. And then let's see, I got one more clip, because we showed a bunch of positive clips earlier. So let's see, it's one of the last plays of the game, and we'll go to that right here. So he's right here. So I mean, this kind of just shows like he is a good at the bull rush, but he doesn't really do much besides that. Sometimes he has a swim move, but it's usually the bull rush, and a lot sometimes it works. And when it works, he's able to get pressure on the quarterback and sometimes even get some sacks. But when there's not much, like, he doesn't have that many counter moves. But overall, I really like Phidarian Mathis as a player, because I think he is going to be very, very good for the Washington Commanders as a run stuffer. I think, if Daron Payne does leave after this season, Washington will be fine, because Phidarian Mathis can be a solid guy in there, and I think he can eventually develop as a solid pass rusher, like not a guy that's going to get you double-digit sacks, because there's not a lot of defensive tackles that do, but he might be able to get you 3, 4, 5 sacks a game, or not game, for a season eventually. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down below how many, what are your expectations for Phidarian Mathis in his rookie year. Peace, guys.